Okay, good morning. I'm going to do the first illustration for Inktober. The prompt is Cigar Girl. So I'm going to do a pointillism picture of a cigar girl. All right, let's go. By the way, here's the finished one. I'll edit it in later. I'll put it here and then show you how I did it. Okay, here we go. Okay, good morning. It is morning where I am. It's 4:57 a.m. and it's October 1st. And the way I understand it, it's the beginning of Inktober. So I really don't know who puts out the prompts, the suggestions on what to draw. And I can't even tell you that I'm going to do this every day, nor can I tell you that I'm going to follow every prompt. However, today, I found it intriguing. The prompt is Cigar Girl. So I'm going to draw a cigar girl, and I'm going to do it in pointillism. Now you might see I have a pencil here, and that's because I'm going to sketch it out first, just a little bit, just to make sure I have everything where I want it to be. So for Cigar Girl, I'm going to have a girl with a cigar. I don't know what else to do. Okay, so let's try this here. I guess I'll start with her eyes. That looks about the right placement for the eyes, and I'll be doing this, permanently with the ink in just a moment. But just she's smoking a cigar, and she's probably relaxed, I guess. Cigar smoking can be a relaxing activity. So just give her some. Okay, the recording stopped, so I had to start it again. Hopefully it'll work now. Okay. So as I was saying, I gotta save the first part so I can piece them together later on. Call it Cigar Girl 1. You can't see what I'm doing, but I'm saving it on my other computer. The computer that I'm recording to. Okay. Alright, so this is where I got before. Now let's continue with the cigar girl. So we got her eyes, and I'm going to make her nose about here, I guess. So let's see. Usually the corners of the eyes usually line up with the edge of the nose. So this is going to be pointillism. That's my intent anyway. Let's give her some eyebrows. Eyebrows are important to ladies. Gotta make sure I give them to her. They might not be the eyebrows she wants, but and then her lips. She's smoking on a cigar, so I imagine they're a little bit pursed. So just kind of give her. It's not too pursed, just a little hint of it. Usually the center of the eye is at the corner of the mouth, so I put that a little too far over. I do have an artist's best friend, the eraser. So, see what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to line it up the middle of the eye with the corner of the mouth. So there we go, right there about. Okay. And yeah, I just didn't want to do it straight with ink because I couldn't have done that little erasing step. Let's give her a little bit of an opening to her mouth if she's blowing smoke. And give her kind of a large bottom lip, sort of. Top of her chin. Bottom of her chin. Maybe right there. And let's put her hair up so it's not in the way. I don't want to have a whole lot of hair to worry about in drawing this. So, okay. I used to do sketches at carnivals and church fundraisers like that. And the lines would be enormous. There would be so many people waiting to get their sketches. I could never get them all done. So there was always disappointed people, which is why I stopped doing it. Robin and I would work it together. She would basically be crowd control and try to explain to people that I can't take any more people in the line, because she kind of calculated. It took me about 15 minutes to do each one. And the challenge of getting a likeness is a challenge. So my track record, my estimated track record, I'm going to tell you, I didn't get the likeness 100% of the time. And I was doing it in charcoal, by the way, so I couldn't erase anything. So my track record was, I'm going to give myself a 90-something, but it wasn't 100. And that was a problem, because some people were not happy. I mean, nothing ever looked horribly wrong. There might be one or two examples where it was horribly wrong, but it wasn't. It was, well, the recording stopped again, so I had to save what I had done so far. Hopefully this is all recording and I'll piece them together. But anyway, so I think I was telling you that I used to do quick sketches at fairs and things like that. And, well, I think I was up to the point where I was telling you that I wasn't 100%. All right, let me get back to this. So here's the nose. Usually the ear's to the right of the, well, it's just off the, how do I tell you this? Like the bottom of the nose sometimes is equal to the ear. Not always. There's no real formula for human ears and human faces in general. I will tell you this, though, that we as humans, we are very, very, very good at remembering faces. Some people say they never forget a face. Well, none of us forget a face. I do think it's almost impossible, if you've been with somebody long enough anyway, to forget their face. All right, so she doesn't have short hair, she has long hair, but she's got a bun, it's up in a bun, so that's why I did it this way. So there's the bun. All right, now we'll have to figure out a way to give her a cigar. Let's give her a shoulder there, and kind of a little neck going on there. Let's put her holding the cigar. I don't know. I'm just trying to sketch it in there. I'm just remembering I'm not young, so I remember ads for cigarettes and things like that. And the girls were always supposedly sexy. Well, they were sexy, but they were supposedly enjoying the cigars and cigarettes, if you remember from, well, you might not be old enough, but anyway, in those days, it was always that way. And by the way, in my younger days, when I was trying to decide what I wanted to do when I grew up, I was leaning toward art as a career. And the art teacher explained that, because I lived outside of New York City, so the art teacher explained that we all, not just me, but all of us in the class, would probably be working on Madison Avenue at advertising agencies. We wouldn't be the next Rembrandt. We wouldn't be the next anything. We would just be working as commercial artists. That's where I learned the word commercial artist. And photography was, of course, beginning to take over. Artists were no longer as important or necessary. So basically it was told to us that we would be drawing floating underwear, because back in those days, you couldn't have models in underwear in like newspaper ads and stuff. So, I don't know if that looks good or not right there. I think I made a hand too small. Anyway, so there's our Cigar Girl. I think I'm almost ready to start putting the ink down. But anyway, so yeah, we were told, I'm giving her a fatter cigar. Make it bigger. All right. Once again, the computer crashed, or the video thing crashed. All right. So anyway, if hopefully this is all continuous here. I'll put her thumb over here. Yeah. So we were told we probably wouldn't be getting like the art jobs that we thought we'd be getting. We thought we'd most likely be working in Madison Avenue and advertising agencies, and let me see what I'm getting wrong here. And drawing floating underwear, I think that's what I started to tell you. It's crazy, right? Well, that was true at that time, because like I say, photography was taking over. Artists weren't as necessary. And I think I made that hand kind of awkward looking. So yeah, that was the message we were given: floating underwear and maybe girls holding cigars. I don't even think we would have been doing this, because back in those days there was photography, and cigars and cigarettes were kind of okay. Photographs of people in underwear were not okay, but cigars were okay. So, all right, so. Okay, so there we go. There's our Cigar Girl. Now I'm going to start adding the pointillism to it. I'm probably a little bit distracted because this thing keeps crashing. But, all right, so now let's start putting ink on it. I have one of these things. Can you see it? It's called a micron. I have 3 of them. I bought them yesterday. That was a 10. Let's see, what do I have here? 12 and 8. So let's see how small the 8 one is. Maybe I'll do the 8. No, you know what I'll do? I'll start with the, I'll start with the 8. I'll start with the small one. I assume 8 is small. Okay. So what the intent is here is to do the pointillism and then erase the pencil later on. Okay, I need to put a light on this. There, that's a little brighter. Now I can see it better. Okay. All right, kids, let's start adding dots. So that's the whole idea, is just to add dots. And the dots, at first, replace the lines, and then they become the shading, which is kind of the most fun part of it all. So first, let's just add the dots that replace the lines that I did with the sketching. And then I will add, because I didn't do any shading at all, I will start adding shading with dots. So there's our Cigar Girl. I don't know what the prompt means, Cigar Girl. I didn't read it anywhere. Somebody told it to me. So maybe I got it wrong. But anyway, here she is. Usually the top lip is in the shade, because it's it's got an underside to it. So it's probably just going to be a darker lip. But we'll find out. Actually, I'm going to find out as I get through it. Hopefully this microphone is picking up. You can hear me. Like I say, it's early in the morning, 5:15 now. All right. There's her ear. Okay. See, the pencil definitely helped, because if I had made a mistake with this ink, what would I have done? I couldn't have erased it, right? Okay, well, once again, it crashed. I just changed the wire that goes from the computer to the phone. I'm going to blame it on that. All right, so let's get back to the dots. To make it a pointillism picture, like I say, I'm just doing the outline first in ink. And what I'll do is I'll erase the pencil after a while. What I don't want to do is to slip into cross-hatching, because we want this to be pointillism, which means lots of points. Lots of points. So basically making a... Remember those old things? I don't know if you do them or if they still have them out there, but it was the connect the dots, where they had a number next to each dot. And then you would draw a picture because the dots would connect. Well, you would connect them with a line. All right. I'm not really completely happy with how I did her hand, but it's going to have to do. I think I made the cigar a little too fat, but who cares? Nobody cares, right? You know what you want? You want a big fat cigar. That's what I think. Why would you want a skinny old cigar? Might as well have a cigarette then. Big old puffy cigar. I made sure there was a little rough edge there on the top of it so that it looks like it's being smoked and has some ash on it. Yeah. So this is kind of pointillism realism, because I don't want to make it impressionistic. Obviously, I want a real looking picture. I think sometimes when you do anything in ink, you have a tendency to want to make it look real. And I don't know why, but that's what we do. You don't see a whole lot of abstract ink drawings, or impressionistic ink drawings for that matter. Well, I hope replacing that wire did the trick, because it started getting annoying having to restart this recording every time. And I hope the other recordings are in the computer somewhere so I can piece them together. Otherwise, I don't know what you're going to see. Maybe nothing. Maybe I'm talking to myself. All right, so you see what I'm doing. It's kind of obvious. I'm just making dots along the lines that I drew with the pencil. And there we go. Almost done. And then I'll erase the pencil. And then we'll start adding the dots that represent the shading. You know, when I said I don't want to slip into cross-hatching, I say that from experience because I have done that. I have started a picture with pointillism, and I noticed I was starting to do this instead of this. And all right, so now we have the girl with the cigar pretty much done with points. Let's get my magic eraser here, and let's erase all the pencil so that all we have is ink. And then I will start to add the other dots that represent the shading. I don't know why the erasers that they put onto number 2 pencils, the yellow pencils that people use in school, I don't know why those erasers dry up. I've had this one forever and it never dries up. So, all right, there we go. I think I got all the pencil gone. It helped that I did it very light. I used a very light pencil. All right, so now there's our girl. Oh, I didn't put the line over her eye, and I certainly didn't do the eyelashes. Well, that would be for last anyway. All right, there, that looks better. She looked kind of squinty there without that. Now you need to have that there. And by the way, when you are drawing somebody, whether it's pointillism or anything, just a little tip: if if you're new to this whole thing, you got to draw what you see. You can't draw what you know. For example, you might know that there's a line over the eye, but if you don't see it, don't put it there. You might know that there are nostrils, but if the person has a nose that's dipped down or whatever, you don't want to draw the nostrils if you don't see them. Okay? All right, now we're going to add the shading to the picture. And I'm going to light it from this direction. I'm going to make the light come from there and have the shadows on this side. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start to add some shadows. I think first I'll do her lip. The light probably is coming from that direction and creating this lip to have an underside. Okay. And this lip is probably dark underneath it. And it's probably, the lip on top is probably a little darker than the inside of the mouth. There's probably a little hint of teeth. If you were painting this, you would want to make the teeth very, very, almost hard to see. Plus, she's smoking a cigar, so her teeth are probably yellow anyway. That's a joke. That's a joke. That was a joke. I don't know if you heard it or not. I don't know if you laughed or not. All right. I'm just kind of pecking away at this to kind of give myself an idea of where I want these shadows to be. So let's put a shadow at the bottom of her nose. A little shadow off to the side of her nose, if the light's coming from that direction. A little bit of shadow here. She's obviously got shadows in her eyes, or on her eyes, or eyelids and all that, because, you know, eyes are eye sockets. And the nature of a socket is that it changes the light. Usually makes it darker, or usually it makes it less present. That's probably the better way to say it. Let's give her a little glimmer to her eye. As I color in the eye, I'm trying to make sure that we don't leave out, we don't fill in an area that might be a reflection off of her eye. Just a hint. All right. There's a shadow under her neck. Again, light's coming from this direction. Get her eye. In painting, I would normally wait. If I would do a digital painting especially, I would normally wait to do the eyelashes. But I think I have no reason to wait in this case, because I can always come back. I think this girl probably has nice eyelashes. I think she's a sexy girl, and I think she knows it. I think she's posing with the cigar for some a flirty reason. She's posing with the cigar for a flirty reason. There we go. All right. How's it doing? Is it doing good? I didn't crash the computer yet, did I? All right, let's give her some shadow down here on her eyes. Both sides of her nose would have some shade. This side of her face would have some shade. Yeah, hard to believe it's October, right? The year goes fast. But I'm trying to make sure I don't do too many dots. Okay, let's give a little bit of a shadow on the bottom of her chin. If you ever do pointillism with paint, it has a really neat effect. You just dabbing the brush onto the canvas. It's got a really neat effect. It takes time though. It's a little bit of a time-consuming process as opposed to strokes, brush strokes. But I think it leaves a nice effect at the end when you're all done. It looks nice. All right, let's give her some shade over here. I'm trying to decide how much light is hitting her nose over here. I'm going to assume a lot, but that doesn't mean completely. There's got to be some shade over here. Okay. Well, knock on wood, so far the program I'm using hasn't crashed. I'm thinking maybe the problem was the wire I was using on the phone. Okay, and hopefully I can piece this together so that it makes sense to you as a viewer. If you're watching it in real time, I'm with you. I like to watch people do things in real time also. I think it helps to learn. It helps to see how other people do things. And by the way, it's important to say that you're watching me and I'm another person. I'm not you. And so, the way I do it is not necessarily the only way to do it. Everybody can develop their own style, their own approach, their own method of doing things. This is just mine. And, I'm kind of intrigued by the whole idea of Inktober because it gives artists a chance to share what they do and have fun at the same time. So that's what we do. We have fun at the same time. Now, a picture like this, if you try to sell art, I don't know who would buy this. And by the way, this is in my sketchbook. I just bought it yesterday. Kind of nice, isn't it? It was only $9. I thought, wow. I'll do my Inktober sketches in a sketchbook. I am not going to commit to doing every day, by the way. I just don't think I want to. Well, you know why? Because I have so many other things I do. So that's part of the problem. I don't want it to be occupying my entire life. So, all right, let's add some shade to her forehead. I don't think that eye's dark enough over here. Yeah, that helped. The eyebrow could be darker. Let me put some more shade on this side of her, even though the light's coming from that side. Get some shade on it. At least get this cigar going here. The cigar's an easy one because it's just brown. Of course, it'll be black in this picture, but get those ashes. Make them look ashy. Cigar Girl. October 1st. The October 1st Cigar Girl. All right, now let me get back to her face. So, I don't know what the rules are for Inktober. I don't know if there are rules. I use digital a lot. I use the Procreate app a lot. And so I was tempted to do this with that because it's really the same thing. You just open up the iPad and, you start making dots digitally. It's really in this case, it wouldn't be any quicker because you still have to do all the dots. However, I've noticed a little bit of pushback to digital art. I'm not sure why. I equate it to the electric guitar. You know, when the electric guitar was first introduced, a lot of purist musicians said, well, that's not a real instrument, and that's cheating, or that's not the way you do it. And then everybody accepted it after a while. It's hard for you to believe, probably, that it wasn't always accepted, but trust me, it's kind of like the capo on a guitar. People don't like capo. Well, they're okay with them now. And probably before my time with art, if you had probably a tube of paint, some of the purest artists who made their own paint probably didn't like the idea of people buying paint in a tube. They probably thought it was cheating, that the whole art process includes making your own paint. But that's how the world is. We change and we progress. And just imagine when cars were first introduced, all the people who thought, no, you got to get around on a horse, right? And now look at all the pushback. You know, no, we don't want electric cars. We want gasoline cars. There's always pushback, and people have a hard time with change. So, you know, the idea of painting digitally probably will be accepted eventually, I hope. There's some nice work being done out there. And in going back to my earlier statement about the teachers who said, you know, you're going to be doing floating underwear, well, they were right and they were wrong, because for a little while that is the way it was. They were wrong because eventually there was this thing that evolved called video games. And video games are such an amazing place for artwork. And video games are such an amazing place for music. You know, the music on video games sometimes is just outstanding. It's beautiful. It's unique. It's inventive. And the same thing with the art. The art's just incredible in some video games. I watch YouTube videos of artists who work as atmosphere artists and background artists and animation artists and character development artists. And a lot of the work that they do is for video games. So, all right, let me get this girl's bun here. See, I'm going back and forth. I'm just trying to get a sense of the whole composition here. Yeah, I think my problem before was the wire. Okay. If you're tapping, you can hear it. I don't know if you can hear it on there, but when you're doing it digitally, you definitely can hear it. That plastic on the glass surface, the plastic pen, or what do you call it, a stylus, the Apple Pen. Well, I'm in Florida, and Hurricane Ian did a lot of damage down in South Florida, Fort Myers. We were spared here in Ocala, so I'm very grateful for that. We're inland, so we usually are spared, but not always. In 2004, we got hit pretty bad. This time it was the Fort Myers, Punta Gorda area. Charlotte, Port Charlotte. Anyway, so yesterday Robin and I were over at the interstate. We weren't on the interstate, we were next to it, looking at the traffic. And the traffic heading south was just one after another vehicle that was obviously on their way to help, like utility vehicles and people carrying heavy equipment to be used to help cut up trees and to move things and to help. basically to help clean up after the fact and help rebuild. Yeah, we saw a lot of lumber being transported down to South Florida. I might leave this hand somewhat sketchy, but then again, maybe I won't. I don't know. Got the wire caught in my sleeve. Sorry, I'm moving it around. Yeah, we were watching the trucks head down the highway yesterday with all the equipment. It was just one after another. You know, it just makes you feel good to know that there are people out there who will help. And it makes you feel, you're reminded that whenever help is needed, it's the average person that steps up to the plate. It's the average person that lends a hand. It's the average person who gets no recognition and goes home at the end of the day and they don't make a lot of money, but yet they're the ones who build the bridges, they're the ones who dig the ditches, they're the ones who put in the pipes, and they're the ones who do the welding and all of that stuff that makes the world what it is. I'm always amused when I see a new building completed and they take a picture of all the people in front of the building who supposedly were responsible for it. And none of the people posing held a hammer. None of the people posing inserted a rivet. None of the people posing had ever even been up on any of the beams as it was going up. So, I don't know. I just think the common man is, and the common woman, I'm not trying to be leaving out anybody here, but I think the common person is the real heart of the world, the real heart of everything. Unfortunately, leaders, forget it, I'm not going to get too political. Let me just say what I was going to say. Unfortunately, leaders will send the average man into war to get their way. And then the defending side has no choice, and then they have to go to war. We have so many situations in our history where we should have learned to not let leaders rule us in that way. It's just horrible. How am I doing? Is she starting to look good? Oops. Oh, I just made a mistake right there. See it? I didn't mean to do that. I put a little kind of a glitch right there next to her lip. It just has to be there. It'll just be there forever. I'm not going to paint over it. All right, let me finish putting dark spots in her hair so she has hair. I don't want it to be completely tight up against her head like that, so I'm going to add some stringy, loose hairs, I think. I can't remember if I did that with the pencil or not. But anyway. And I'm using the 8 pen, so it's, I guess, the medium one of the 3. It's not a bad pen. This is a great pen, actually. What's it called? Micron? Micron. Good pen. Good pen. Yeah, I was tempted to use a Sharpie for this, but I thought, no, those dots are going to be way too big. And then I went to the Hobby Lobby and I found these pens. And I couldn't believe I told Robin, look at this, they're under $10 for 3 pens. You can't beat that. Lots of dots in her hair. That's why it's called pointillism, right? I am tempted to get one of the bigger pens and start doing some of these darker areas, but I kind of like the way it's looking with these little tiny dots. What do you think? I guess I could have used a smaller pen and made them even smaller. I don't know how long this video is going to be when it's done, but I'll just leave it full length, and you guys can fast forward it if you want to. I don't know that I'm teaching a whole lot here. I'm just demonstrating. If there's anything I will tell you that is along the lines of teaching with art, it is this. Hold on, my computer went. I guess I waited too long to refresh it. It is this. This is what I will say. Art is art. And because art is art, it sounds weird, doesn't it? It kind of lends itself to interpretation. It's almost like poetry. You are the artist. Isn't that cool? So as an artist, you determine what your style is going to be. You determine what you like and don't like. You experiment. You can learn by watching. You can learn by listening, or I don't know if listening would in case of art, but you can learn by doing, and you can figure out what works for you and what you like and what you don't like. If you don't do that, then everybody is going to have art that looks the same. I looked at some art not too long ago from several people, and they were all imitating that thing called anime. I think anime is a beautiful style, but everybody shouldn't be doing the same style. That's what I think. So do what you like. Do what works for you. Do what seems to make sense to you. Do what... It's kind of like if you're a musician, and especially if you're a songwriter, you're a creative musician, not just a cover band. But if you're a creative musician, you want to invent your own niche in the world. It's not easy. But if you just keep doing it, guess what happens? Eventually everybody says, oh, that sounds like Johnny, or that sounds like Roy, or that sounds like Phil. In the art world, oh, that looks like Larry's work, and oh, that looks like whoever, Okay, now, I think her hair needs to be, it's a little bit too light. I just need to keep making dots, I guess, to get it to become darker. And that's the secret to pointillism. Lots of dots. Lots and lots and lots and dots. All right, let me make some flyaway hairs here. Yeah, let's make some flyaways. That kind of makes her look sexy, doesn't it? Just a few flyaway hairs. Isn't it weird how we think? Yeah, I like that. I like that little flyaway look. I was going to put shading over here on her side of her face, which I sort of kind of am as I'm doing these little flyaways, but I kind of like the flyaways as a better way of taking up some of that negative space in her forehead. Yeah. There's lots and lots and lots of dots. You ever try that ice cream, the dots ice cream? I like that stuff. We went on a road trip not too long ago, about 2 weeks ago. We went to New Jersey, and some of the service plazas, they sell those ice cream dots. The only problem with them, I'll tell you what it is. You can't eat them in the car. Well, in the car you can, but not when you're driving. You can't eat them when you're driving. No. That's a mess. There we go. Let me put a flyaway over here. Put a couple of hairs that just hang down here. What do you think? You like the way that looks? That looks pretty good. All right, let me just keep giving her a little bit of shade over here. I think the light probably would be diffused at this point, so it wouldn't be completely bright. That would be the bright area over here. It's amazing how one dot can make an area look like it's not well lit. Just a few dots, and you have a shadow. All right, now I think I'm almost done with her. As far as an exercise for Inktober, yeah, I wasn't sure if I wanted a background. I will not put a background on her. She is the whole subject. She is my cigar girl for October. What's it called? Inktober. Inktober. Cigar Girl. Now see what I did right there? I made it too dark. So now, in order to remedy that, I just have to make the rest of this a little bit darker. Yeah, I made the shadow a little bit too intense right there. You know, I did not put any smoke. I don't think I'm going to attempt smoke. I think I'm just going to leave it like it is. She's got this. All right, let me give her some color to her clothing, the strap on her clothing. Let me just put lots of dots all the way down. I'll just keep coming back up. There will be a little shade right there. There's a little bit of the dots representing diffused light mostly. So I guess once I'm done with this, I'll just take a picture of it and put it onto Twitter or something. One of them. Well, there's a couple of dashes right there. I almost slipped into cross-hatching. We don't want to do cross-hatching. Cross-hatching mixed with pointillism is okay, but in this particular one, I wanted to make it completely pointillism. Lots and lots and lots of dots. I was in a mall when I was much younger, and there was an art show going on, and it was a young man, and he had done colored pointillism. He had pictures of parrots, and he did them all with points. And he said, "Do you know how many points there are on this picture?" And I said, "No." And he told me a number. And all I could do was chuckle, because there's no way. There's no way he counted every single one. Can you imagine? If I was counting this whole time? Ay, ay, ay. Why do people tell you stuff like that? Why do people make up stuff? It's just, I don't know, maybe to impress. It didn't make the art better or worse. It was actually, the art was pretty good. The parrots he drew. But you know, when people tell you, oh my gosh, I spent 20 hours just on the fingernails or something, you say, well, why? Why'd you spend 20 hours on the fingernails? That doesn't even make sense. I guess it's to make their work seem like it was a lot of time and therefore work, it's worth a lot of money, whatever. Anyway. All right, kids. There's Cigar Girl. It's darker in real life than it is on there. Let me turn off the light, see if it looks better. Dark. Whoops. Oh, now it's got like a glow to it. All right, I'm going to put my name. I'm not going to do my name in Pointillism, though. I'm just going to write my name. You know, the name thing, too, that's another debate. People don't say you shouldn't put your name. You should put your name. Well, I'm going to tell you why you should. Because people who collect art value having the signature on it. So, all right, close the pen. Yeah, only use one pen. I'll use this one. All right, there's my Cigar Girl. I'll take a picture of it and upload it. October 1st, Inktober. All right, kids, I'm going to close out this computer program. All right, good night. Good morning. You know what time it is? It's 5 to 6. 5 minutes to 6 a.m.